because identity theft is not a joke, Jim. Okay. So, come on, there it is. Lack of the line. Cut down on the glare. Sunny out. Not used to this stuff. Okay. Yeah. So today we're gonna do more of proving identities. I can hand out another note sheet while I talk about this stuff. Next week, Thursday, a week from yesterday, you will have your test on 5.1 and 5.2. Also, next week, Thursday, for everyone, we are going to have 6 things that are going to be due. Okay? So you've got 4 gold worksheets. Or right now, I should say, you have 3 gold worksheets. You're going to get a 4th one at the end of class today. And you have 2 green formative assessments. Those will all be due next week, Thursday. Okay? If you get done with them and want to turn them in, the turn-in baskets are always open and willing to take extra papers. So those, and that's going to be in everybody. Everybody's going to turn all 6 of those in if you haven't done so already. Okay? With that being said, I'll give you a couple of minutes to solve for x over the interval 0 to 2 pi. 3 cosecant of x minus sine of x equals -2. Go for it. While you're doing that, I'll just talk in the background about the fact that the only way that you get better with this stuff is by doing this stuff. So make sure that you've got a good, start already to, or I shouldn't say make sure. You should have a good start already to those 3 worksheets that we handed out. If not, this weekend is a great time for you to get those 4 worksheets all started, if not completed, and such. So, just so you know. So, if it were moi, and it's me because I'm up here doing it, I would say that this is 3 over sine of x. -2. Yes? Now, as I was walking around the room, I saw some people change sine of x to sine squared of x over sine of x to get a common denominator. Okay? Which is fine for the left side. Then combine them, 3 minus sine squared over sine. Okay? But then you got to multiply by sine to get that, to clear that fraction up. So we could also just multiply right from here. We could multiply everything by sine right from the start. Okay? If I do that, then this becomes 3 minus sine squared of x equals -2 sine of x. Okay? Now, because I've got a squared and a non-squared in the same problem, that tells me that I'm not going to be able to get the signs on one side and the numbers on the other. That tells me I've got to put everything onto one side. So that's going to be 0 here equals sine squared of x minus 2 sine of x minus 3. In my brain, my think box, if you will, I'm thinking of this as 0 equals x squared minus 2x minus 3. And so I would be thinking along the lines of, I I can factor this. Sine of x minus 3 and sine of x plus 1. Two numbers that multiply together to be negative 3 and add to be negative 2. From there, then, we can set sine of x minus 3 equals 0. So sine of x equals 3. First lap unit circle, where is sine equal to positive 3? Nowhere, right? Okay, so that one doesn't give me anything. Sine of x plus 1 equals 0. So sine of x equals negative 1. First lap unit circle, where is sine equal to negative 1? 3 pi over 2. Okay. Good to go on that one? Okay. All right. Then what I'd like to do is I would like to do a verifying of an identity. Now, if you have yesterday's worksheet, or I shouldn't say yesterday's worksheet, yesterday's note sheet, the white one, 5.2 day 1, this is number 5 on the back side. Number 5 on the back side of that one. Okay? So, what you should have gotten from reading on the front side and looking through how we solve or how we verify, so example number 1 on the front side, you should have gotten that you can only work one side. So you have to make a decision at the start. Do you want to only work the left side or only work the right side? And unfortunately, in trig, the side that looks the scariest is the side that you want to choose, because you'll be able to do more things with it. Okay? So if I'm looking at left and right side in this particular problem, my right side is just 2. There's not a lot that I can do with that because I don't know what direction to go into. Okay? So I'm not going to choose the right side. The left side looks fairly complicated. We've got some squares and we've got some ugly looking things in there. Okay? Right? That's the side that I'm going to choose. So I am going to ignore the right side, and I'm going to focus in 100% on the left side. And I'm going to do everything that there is to do on the left side, and I'm not going to stop until it's 2, until I get 2. Okay, that's my goal. That's how I know I'm done. So, first thing that I can do is I can take this and I can expand that out. That's going to be cosine of t minus sine of t times cosine of t minus sine of t. It's not just cosine squared minus sine squared. Okay? We have to actually do this multiplication. Double distribution. So that's going to become cosine squared of t minus cosine of t sine of t minus cosine of t sine of t plus sine squared of t, which is also cosine squared of t minus 2 cosine sines plus sine squared. So that's the left one of those two. Then I come over to here and I can expand that one out. That's going to be cosine of t plus sine of t, cosine of t plus sine of t. That's going to be plus cosine squared of t plus cosine sine plus cosine sine plus sine squared. Which is also cosine squared plus 2 cosine sine plus sine squared. Now, I will tell you this, that so far on this problem, that right there is the least amount of work that you can show. With me? On these problems, you have to show us on paper what you're thinking. We can't just read your mind and say, oh, this is where they want it to be. You have to show us at least this. Okay? Maybe, hold on, I would even go so far as I would say that this would be the least amount that you would have to show. Okay? The more you show, the better it is for you. Okay? So now we're here. Does anything in this blue-green line cancel out? These two right here cancel each other out. So that leaves me with, then, cosine squared of t plus sine squared of t plus cosine squared of t plus sine squared of t. Any identity that we can use. The hammer tells us what? That cosine squared plus sine squared is 1. So this is 1. This is 1. You have to show that. You can't just go from this orange line to 2. Okay? You've got to show that intermediate step. 1 plus 1 is 2. And now, let me erase back up here. Oops. And now, two is 2. So we're done. We got it to be what we're looking for. Okay. Questions on that? Love it. This one, is it number 6 on day 1? Yep. Cosine, yeah, except it's cosine x on yours. But it's number 6 on also from yesterday's worksheet. Okay? So on this particular one, my question to you is, which side is more complicated? which side is more complicated? Left side? Why? A binomial instead of a monomial? Yeah, that's exactly what I would have said. The left side, I think, is more complicated because you're dividing by a not one term. Okay, all right. So let's work left side. We're only going to look left side now. Okay. So if I'm sitting here at cosine of beta, or in your case it was cosine of x, 1 plus sine of beta. Remember that there's not a lot that we can do with it, right? But we can multiply by 1. And the 1 that we're going to multiply by is actually going to be the conjugate of the bottom of the denominator. By doing that, on the top over here, we get cosine of beta times 1 minus sine of beta. On the bottom here, we get 1 minus sine beta plus sine beta minus sine squared beta. Which is 1 minus sine squared. Okay. Right? One minus sine squared of beta. Remember, anytime that you see a squared in your identity or in your problem, it's probably an identity. Is 1 minus sine squared an identity? Which one? It's an offshoot of the hammer. It's the second one in number 7. 1 minus sine squared is what? It's cosine squared. Can I simplify anything? What? One of the cosine from the top cancels out one of the cosines on the bottom now. So my top would just be oops, I don't need parentheses anymore. My top would just be 1 minus sine of beta, and my bottom would now just be cosine of beta, which is what we were looking for up there. Okay. Again, I can't stress this enough. You want to pick the ugliest side to work because you can do more. Questions, comments, concerns, clarification? then what I would like to do, that's the last example that I wanted to do today. I do have the 5.1 to 5.2 review assignment. We decided to hand it out today, just in case you wanted to get started on more practice with it over the weekend. Again, your test for this is going to be on Thursday, and you will have 6 things due: 4 golds, 2 greens. It's a Packer unit, green and gold unit. Okay? So 4 golds, 2 greens.